Hello, my name is Henrik Jönsson. I'm an independent libertarian commentator, usually focused on Swedish politics. This week, I'm doing my video in English due to its international relevance. For those of you who need it, there are subtitles down below. I'll be back to Swedish in my next video. And I will progressively be adding English subtitles to my old videos for foreign viewers interested in my back catalogue. Last week I came across a viral video made by the Al Jazeera media network, featuring the very photogenic leftist activist Francesca Fiorentini. The video is apologetic to socialism and designed to turn American voters to its cause. Fiorentini's video manages to be both dishonest and clueless at the same time, with much of his discourse offensively trivializing the tragedy of those who've suffered under real socialism. Hence, I feel obliged not to let her socialist propaganda stand uncontested. In this video, I present my strong reservations to the flippant half-truths and debunk the outright dishonesty presented in their video. So stay tuned.
Socialism, the monster hiding under America's bed. We're looking at some of the biggest myths told about the S word.
Let me stop you right there. Critique is not a myth just because you disagree with it, alright?
Socialism is a favorite straw man of the right, used to disparage any candidate that mentions anything that resembles something like generosity.
Let it be noted that socialism has absolutely nothing to do with generosity. Taxes are ultimately claimed and collected with force. There is no opportunity for the citizen to go, "No, I think I'll pass this time, but thank you for coming." Generosity means freely deciding to spend resources on other people. There can be no generosity at the muzzle of a gun, only coercion. But the people that collect it are doing it for the common good, to give to those in need, you say? That is still not generosity. That is taking the value and resources of other people by force and then spending it according to someone else's values. It is the root of totalitarianism, when you decide that a little bit of force against other people might be permissible for the greater good, whatever that greater good eventually might degenerate into.
Socialism is a range of economic and social systems characterized by social ownership and democratic control of the means of production. That sounds pretty harmless.
A dictatorship is an authoritarian form of government characterized by a single leader or group of leaders with either no party or a weak party, little mass mobilization, and limited political pluralism. Of course, reading a dry textbook definition of an ideology sounds pretty harmless, but the fact that you feel that it sounds harmless is in no way negating what democratic control of the means of production really means. Here's a hint. It doesn't mean we all get a cozy vote on whether we should purchase some fancy new smartphones and have a selfie party. Historically, it rather means nationalization of corporations, commodities, and assets. How do you achieve something like that? Oh, well, usually by sending in the military and throwing a few thousand people in prison. You know, socialism, the pretty harmless-sounding ideology you're touting.
You can think about socialism as democracy for the economy, an economy that takes planning and forethought and doesn't just leave wealth distribution to the invisible hand of the market, which, in case you were wondering, looks like this for the 99% of us.
Democracy for the economy. An economy that takes planning, you say? There's a word for this. It's called planned economy. And it is a terrible idea. And to continue with the colorful hand metaphors, it looks like this. Let me break it down for you in simple terms. In a market economy, value is automatically determined as a free interplay of all freely participating parties. If a copper mine in South America caves in, the supply of copper on the market diminishes and the price increases. As a function of the price increase, a trombonist in Sacramento might decide to postpone investing in a new instrument, and the cost of telecommunication wiring sees a pump. In the same manner, as the popularity of Netflix rises, the demand for renting DVDs dwindles. This is called the pricing mechanism, or sometimes market self-optimization. In a planned economy, an army of economists are tasked with figuring out how much everything should cost, and how much of it the government-owned factories should produce. This model has proved excellent at producing too many tractors and too little bread. In socialist East Germany, the enforcement of plan economy created an illegal black market bartering economy in which desperate people spontaneously tried to bridge the misalignment of supply and demand. The Ministry for State Security, the Stasi, was therefore obliged to spy on its citizens and fostered a gruesome informant culture in which nobody could trust one another. In fact, the system of plan economy was so popular, they had to build a great big wall around their system to protect it. Oh, wait, the people tore that wall down, didn't they?
Myth number 1. Socialism's been attempted and failed.
Well, socialism has failed in Algeria, Burma, Cambodia, Cuba, Laos, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Albania, Belarus, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Ethiopia, North Korea, Poland, Romania, Venezuela, and the Soviet Union.
The Soviet Union wasn't actually socialist.
I can't believe you just did that. Presenting socialism as an ideology is so good that it has never been correctly represented. But I promise, this time we'll do it right. Just trust me, with executive power over the economy, it will be fine.
Yes, Venezuela is going through an insane political crisis right now, but it's not clear that that crisis has anything to do with their socialist policies.
No, and I'm sure it's also not clear that drinking 5 bottles of Prosecco every night and passing out in the stairwell of a strip joint has anything to do with waking up with a headache. The case of Venezuela is particularly disgusting, as the Western's left wing for many years celebrated its anti-democratic policies as progressive examples of building a successful socialist state. Those voices have all gone silent now, as famine is ravaging the country and an annual inflation rate of 13,000% utterly has killed off its once booming oil economy, and people are now desperately and illegally trading in capitalistic US dollars for survival.
Cuba is not a democracy, for sure, but it also has the highest literacy rate in all of Latin America.
For sure! Not a democracy, but oh, those communist reading skills. That's like arguing the benefits of getting a really nice wheelchair from the government after it's chopped your legs off and involuntarily trapped you in a tropical 1950s version of the Amish. Come on!
Another myth we hear is that socialism is too expensive.
Expensive is a rather funny and quite revealing label to put on socialism. Most financial systems talk about establishing a growth equilibrium and... oh, never mind. Socialism can be said to be expensive, as it unfailingly consumes more resources than it is capable of producing. Margaret Thatcher summed this one up well when she stated, "The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money."
Another myth spouted about socialist policies, that they're not good for business.
All over the world, the honest, hard-working people running businesses have had their lives and fortunes squandered as the ideology you are defending moved in as a horde of nationalizing barbarians, ruining the economy in the process. Of course, I realize the socialism that we are talking about here is supposed to be one of light touch, allowing businesses to thrive, perhaps even making them better by gently nudging them in the order towards the common good. Over and over again, this has been proven to be like asking for a tiny slice of the neck of a goose. It might look trivial from a spectator's perspective, but it will still kill the whole damn thing.
Another myth about socialism is that it requires big government.
Requires? It is big government. It fosters big government. Socialist policies need to be enforced, resulting in a ceaseless expansion of civil servants and bureaucrats. As power is shifted from business and achievement, the value of political pull, the value of knowing the right people and greasing the right wheels takes its place. As ambitious people are incentivized to become part of the public sector and the government, a brain drain is effected on the productive sector, forcing fewer and fewer to pay more and more taxes to an ever-expanding strata of people in the public office. As the consequences of this begin revealing themselves, the standard socialist response has been to disqualify private business as incapable of solving the challenges facing a solidaric society, regulating them more and more up until the point where outright nationalization becomes necessary.
Keep an open mind about socialism.
I'd be the first to agree with an open mind. Capitalism is not likely the ultimate destination for the civilization of mankind. As Winston Churchill would have it, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government aside from all the others that have been tried. However, in the light of historical experience and overwhelming evidence, socialism is not the solution to any challenges facing mankind. And for all I care, I pray that we shall be able to keep the United States out of its foul claws. I would like to conclude this rebuke of the apologetics of socialism with an Ayn Rand quote I believe befits the situation. The rotter who simpers that he sees no difference between the power of the dollar and the power of the whip ought to learn the difference on his own hide, as I think he will. Do you agree that we must never take our freedoms for granted and that socialism represents a degenerating move towards progressive totalitarianism? Share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please leave a comment. I love to hear your thoughts. I appreciate all respectful commentary. If you appreciate my YouTube channel, you're free to choose to support my work via Patreon. There is a link for that below here somewhere. I am Henrik Jönsson. Thank you very much for watching this video.